Hello, I'm Oscar. My rant after watching episode 6 of season 7 Game of Thrones was a little bit too long, so I'm going to try it again. And to keep it short, I'm going to use this fantastic new technology called cutting. The main issue I had, as I said, was the lack of tension. Yes, there was some between Sansa and Arya, but the Jon Snow quest line, practically everything that happened north of the Wall and after that was predictable. Now, not new to this episode is the problem that Daenerys, flying through the cold air on top of her dragon, doesn't need any warm clothing. Despite the Snow Squad complaining that they're going to freeze to death, they didn't think it necessary to take any hats with them, and it's definitely not cold there because at no point can you see anyone's breath freezing in the cold air. So if the dragons have absolutely no problem flying through the freezing cold air of the north, why did Jon Snow not try and convince Daenerys to come with him straight away? Would have made more sense. It would have been less risky for his party. It would have been quicker. Remember that they are under some pressure. And of course she would be able to see the dead herself. So it seems that the Snow Squad has been marching for days, yet Gendry runs back to the Wall, a route he's only crossed once and in the opposite direction. The Raven is sent to fetch Daenerys. Daenerys comes flying north, all that within one day. And how does Daenerys find Jon in that vast open space anyway? The zombie bear was fun and exciting, yes, but we've seen the White Walkers also resurrect small girls, so why do they not go around resurrecting everything including rabbits and hawks? When the Snow Squad finds a party of dead people, they come running out, shouting at them, throwing away any advantage of an ambush they would have had, and conveniently when destroying the White Walker, all but one of the dead are destroyed. When they capture a dead person, they tie his hands up in front of him, which is a silly thing to do, and they put a bag over his head, which has no effect other than he can't see as well as without that bag. The first stone thrown by the Hound is utterly unrealistic. Does the Night King really control the dead at all? The Snow Squad is on this rocky island in this frozen lake with the broken ice, and the dead just stand there waiting for it to freeze up. Hours after that must have happened, it's because the Hound throws a second stone and one of the dead figures out he can walk over. His commanders do not tell him to do anything. Throughout most of the desperate fight that the Snow Squad has on their rocky island, we have the dead holding back. We have two, I think, unimportant characters who are killed, and one of them definitely by being stampeded by the dead. But hey, they don't do that to Jon Snow. The dragons come flying in and rescue them. That is no surprise, we all saw it coming. Jon Snow idiotically goes further and further away from the dragon that could rescue him. It's well deserved that he gets dragged into the ice after that. The Night King kills the dragon. We saw that coming. Why? Because he's going to want to resurrect it for himself. We see that coming. If the White Walkers can throw spears like that, why haven't we seen them do it beforehand? Why did they stand there all night doing nothing when they could have speared the Snow Squad? It's not as if they knew we've got to preserve the one javelin we've got for a dragon that's coming that we don't really know is coming. The dead hold back whenever it is convenient for the main characters, but in the end Jon Snow is dragged down into the freezing cold water, only to emerge again and not freeze to death in the cold air, conveniently directly in front of his sword, to be conveniently rescued by his uncle, who does not even attempt to rescue his own life together with Jon's. The scars we see on Jon's torso don't have the right shape, neither for what caused them nor for how old they are. And finally, of course, the huge chains, where everyone's sitting there thinking, where on earth did they get those chains from? But also, how did they attach them to the dragon? In the last episode, we have been told directly by Jon Snow the dead can't swim. Now, that was definitely more compact than my first attempt. Thank you very much for watching. Leave a comment below if you think there's a point I left out, or if there's anything you'd like to discuss on what I said. Since you came so far, give me a like. Thank you very much, and see you next time. Now, the question, of course, how good is the general plan, showing a dead to Cersei, was answered yesterday with the season's final. Yes, she was convinced, but as I predicted, it is something that she sees as a remote problem. So was it all worth it?